Welcome to Love Grind. I'm Ebony, your host. And tonight I come to you in a great mood. I have a crush on somebody, which is kind of strange for me, but I don't think he knows, even though I'm probably like grinning all stupid, but whatever. We're a love cast and we're about love addiction and codependency. So thanks for joining me. Tonight we are going to talk about getting back to your old self after a breakup, which is really difficult to do sometimes. So get comfortable and sit down and let's talk. After my breakup, everything reminded me of my ex, and it was very hard for me to get back to myself once again. Things like going to the gym where we used to do together, sitting on the hydro bed, painting, just going to the store in general, waking up shit reminded me of my ex, and it was so hard for me to do these things. I became stagnant and isolated myself a lot. And so we're going to go over some tips of how you can start healing, and once you do start healing, how you meet yourself again and how you should love yourself once again. Listen, don't let any of those things take you away from who you really are, who you were before you met that person. And I know it's hard, but sometimes you do. I would not paint anymore because he was my biggest fan at one point and he was gone. And so all of that reminded me of our relationship together, and I wouldn't do it. So when I began to paint again, it was liberating. I was like, this is mine, and I cannot let take over who this breakup just consume me anymore. And one day you wake up and you're like, shit, I'm ready to do things again. I'm ready to live again. That person is living and you be ready to live again. And it's hard, but there's some things you can do. You can start exercising. You can start making new friendships. You can start visiting new places and making those places yours once again. You cannot let that breakup consume you. 70% of people who experience breakups, they admit that they were lost. And that's true. 70% of people who experience breakups, which is damn near a lot of people, do feel lost. And a lot of times, some of us experience way more than just getting back to ourselves again. For me personally, I became homeless, carless once that breakup set in. So I had to totally start my life over again, like a cat with 9 lives. And it was difficult because every time I looked back to lean on that person, they were no longer there. And knowing they didn't want to be there was definitely hard on me. Somehow I got on my 2 feet. God gave me the brain and the spirit in order to get back and say, you know what? I'm not going to let this break me. I will get on the microphone again. I will start creating again. And I will start doing the things that I love because it consumed me. That was a huge part of my life. So I had to learn how to maneuver around without a vehicle. I had to learn that I had to sleep on people's couches for a while until I was able to afford my own place, which is all just, I don't know, came out of the blue, but it happened. And so I had to learn how to do all those things again. Not only that, all of my things were gone, so I had to get more clothes, and all of these were steps I had to take, and they weren't easy because, see, everybody doesn't understand exactly what you're going through when you're going through that. And when they don't, it's hard for them to be empathetic or understanding to some of your needs. Ultimately, it's up to you, us, to heal ourselves. And so once you start admitting that that relationship is over and that person doesn't want to be with you, and you're done begging and calling and trying to get that person back to no avail, you have to start to live again. So if you went to a certain grocery store, go there and see how you feel. If it's too overwhelming, maybe try it another day or try a different store. But you have to start making these activities yours once again, or you'll never live. For instance, we used to go to a certain store together, a store he introduced me to, and I would not go into that store. And I felt so much anxiety walking over there towards that store because I just thought about all the memories and all the things we talked about, and I wouldn't go. Or there's a certain neighborhood that we lived in. And so when I had to go through that neighborhood, man, I thought I was having a panic attack every single time, thinking about our lives and thinking about the things that happened and transpired. I would not do it. I mean, I totally felt a whole body experience. But now when I go through there, I do still feel a little anxiety, but it's not the same. Once you start to heal yourself and you start to say, I am who I am with or without that person, you'll start feeling a little bit better. I can't give you a time period. It's been like 2 years for me, and I still feel some type of, memories or when I go to certain places, but it definitely has helped a lot, and I don't feel the same. I begin to paint again. I begin to listen to music again. I begin to learn myself again, and it's a beautiful thing. You'll look yourself in the mirror and realize I am beautiful and I am worthy, and I cannot let that person have that. So if you're experiencing that kind of anxiety, if you don't want to go to a certain restaurant or store or place in general because you're used to that person being with you, just know that just like you made those memories, you can begin to make brand new memories. It's never too late to do that, So I just wanted to let you guys know that it's going to be difficult in the beginning of your breakup. Anything will trigger you, certain music, certain smells, but that's going to be throughout the rest of your life. You'll be sitting there and a memory will snap through and you'll be like, oh, that reminds me of that person. What we need to do is realize that those memories are okay to have because you were living with that person or having a relationship. What we need to do is make sure they're not so sad and it makes us so depressed when we think about that, right? So yeah, I go to the store and yeah, we used to do this together and that's fucked up. It's over, but it is. Let me make new memories with somebody else. I know it's hard to form friendships when you're feeling sad and down and out, but you can also do that too. Talk to people who are going through the same thing, which can be kind of depressing sometimes, or talk to someone who's going through something opposite, right? So you don't think about that. A lot of times too is when you are going through those memories, you're triggered to call or reach out to that person. I did that, leaving messages. Oh, that's not a good way to go. First of all, when you don't get a response, it's even worse. You feel even worse than you did. But that person's not really feeling that same way, so you can't force them to. Like I would think about Sunday mornings and how we used to lounge around and hang out. And I text my ex and I was like, remember this? No response. And it made me feel even worse. So remember too, when you're having these memories, it's natural, but you definitely don't need to reach out to that person. Maybe write it down in a journal and jot it down and remember how you felt at that time. But reaching out is definitely not a good thing. If you think that you can get your ex back with memories and the nostalgic things that you're feeling, that's not true. And it just makes for more heartbreak. What I did was I sat in my heartbreak. I was afraid to let it go because I was like, well, what will define me now if it's not this heartbreak? People will ask me why I don't and why I can't do these things, and I can't use that as an excuse. And at a certain point, you cannot. Things have to start to heal. You have to start to do things to heal yourself. If you stay stagnant in that breakup, you're not going to ever be at your full potential. And so it does take time to learn yourself again. But once you start, you're like, wow, this is a cool person. And I cannot believe I was not doing these things. I went to the gym the other day and I walked past the hydro bed. I don't know if anybody's ever been on it, but it's a great thing. And I would not get on the hydro bed because him and I used to do that together. And so the other day I went on it and I was like, why would I deprive myself of something so magnificent? And once you start to learn, like I'm depriving myself, you definitely begin to just open up again. I mean, there's some things that maybe you didn't do with your partner that you can do now. Like you can cook the things that you want. You can go the places you want. So always celebrate any time in your life, whether you're with somebody or whether you're not. That doesn't define who you are. And always remember that at the end of the day, you have to be okay with yourself because that's who's going to be with you forever. And so know while they didn't celebrate you and while they don't want to be with you, it's okay. You want to be with you. And you remember that. So getting to know yourself once again is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Make sure you love yourself and you're working on it. You use empathy, but make sure you're not giving yourself certain things because of a certain person. All right. Enjoy life. Life is well. Life is good. And you have to remember that every time you wake up or you step out. And believe me when I say time does heal. I wake up now and it's a whole new experience than I did when I first had my breakup. There's no more like revenge in me. I don't know if I wish them well just yet. I'm not know if I'm there yet, but I definitely am not depriving myself from basic pleasures that I handled with him. I definitely know that was extension of me. And so the next person that I'm with, I will make Sunday breakfast for, and we can lounge around and we'll laugh together and we can do those things because that's who I am and that's who you are. So don't ever deprive yourself from that. And remember that you're perfect, you're great, and somebody will come into your life. And until then, you have to love yourself, love bugs. That's just the way it is. It sounds so cliche, but it is the absolute truth. All right. Now I'm so comfortable with myself. I'm willing to laugh with myself and just feel so sad that that person does not want to enjoy that with me. Okay. So remember that. Get to know yourself after this breakup. It doesn't define you. It's not the end of the world. The world will keep going and you don't want to miss it. So make sure you do that. Make sure you tune in next week. If this resonated with you, please share it with somebody. Comment down below. Make sure you're getting on Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms I'm on, giving me a like, thumbs up, and definitely commenting. I would love to hear from you. All right. And I hope you have a great week. Make all of the decisions you can this week with your heart, with empathy, starting with yourself first. And until next time, I'm out. Thanks for tuning in to Love Grind.